Big trade at the top last night, which I did not see coming. Obviously, Travis Hunter knew it was going to happen. Jacksonville knew it was going to happen. How long has this been in the works? Did you have inklings of this? Did you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a couple of weeks, and the teams at the top have been kind of exploring a trade down, and I was skeptical it would happen just because I thought the Browns and Giants were going to drive too hard a bargain, and nobody was going to be willing to pay what it would take to go up. And the reason why is because once you got past Carter at 3, the value of those picks, like 4, 5, 6, 7, might have been like what the 15th pick was worth, or the 18th pick was worth, or the 20th pick was worth last year. Like, and I know we're going to get into Will Campbell, but, I think the range he would have been seen in last year as a left tackle would have been like where the Washington tackle was. Troy Fautanu went 20th overall to the Steelers, which doesn't mean he's a bad player. And again, I know we'll get into that, but if you're one of those teams, if you're the Jaguars or the Giants, then you're going to say, well, that's not like going down 3 picks. That's like going down 12 picks or 15 picks for us from a value standpoint. And so they were going to charge a quarterback premium for it, and they got the premium. It's not quite what you would pay to go get a quarterback, but
it's close.
It's close. I mean, you got the current year 1, the current year 2, and next year's 1, which that's a massive, massive haul. And the Browns did well on that trade based on the fact that there wasn't a quarterback there that they were selling off at number 2.
I mean, it's a lot to look at, but when you look at the player, and if you've got him identified as the guy who is going to be that both sides of the ball guy, and he says he wants to do it, and there was a lot of debate last night about how much he would be able to play on both sides, percentage of snaps, offense versus defense, how much is he going to be out there? If he's even out there a fraction of what they're talking about last night, and he's not just a contributor, but a real standout player on both sides of the ball, of course you give up all that stuff to get that guy if you think it's going to help you immediately, as they do in Jacksonville.
The 2 other things that I had to consider here. Number 1 is where those Jacksonville guys came from, which is the Rams. And the Rams have always been willing to be aggressive with picks for players they want. They identify somebody they want. Now it's generally been for veteran players, but in this case you look at it as maybe this is a unicorn, maybe this guy is different. The counter to that argument is, are they really that close? And do they really, because this is the sort of move that you would make when you're right there. Like, I think you can compare this sort of like to the Julio Jones trade when and it's obviously different because the Falcons went way up. But when the Falcons did that, it was, we are right on the precipice. We are close. They had been in the playoffs, I think, 3 out of 4 years, something like that, whatever it was. And they felt like they were right on the doorstep of competing for a championship. And that's the one question with Jacksonville. It's like, okay, like now you've kind of killed your base of picks. You're not picking again until the 3rd round. You don't have a lot of other ways to improve. So is this guy good enough to put you over the top where you've made the playoffs, once in the last decade? I think it's longer than that, but
you were 4-13 last year.
Right, you were 4-13 last year, which is why you're drafting there in the first place. So it's risky. I can't wait to watch the guy play because we've never seen anything quite like this, and I can't wait to see what he becomes. But
the notion is that he'll get in and immediately start learning the offense, and I'm gonna exaggerate this, but his feeling and the feeling for some is that defensively, he can just go out there and play.
I don't believe that.
If he's a man coverage, you can just put him out there and he'll be able to. But the real work needs to be put in on the offense.
That's not true. I think it's the.
We've done this before.
I think it's the opposite. I mean,
we did this like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it's the absolute reverse. Like,
really?
No, at 100%, 100%. Like what they did at Colorado, his meeting time, his practice time was spent on defense. And then they had packages in for him in offense, and there were times when they were signaling routes into him from the sideline.
Huh.
So, and the reason why is because an offense you're dictating to the defense. So you can draw that up any way you want.
If Zoe were here, he'd lose his mind right now.
Well,
you could use the word dictating.
What he would say is you need chemistry offensively playing receiver with the quarterback.
And that's true.
But you can get that. Hold on. He had worked with Shedeur for years, going back to Jackson State.
Yeah.
Had this first year at Colorado. Last season was his third with Shedeur. That chemistry had been established. They're running a simplified spread offense. All of those, even the different hash marks dictate the field, the wide side of the field, much wider than it will be in the NFL. I think you can have him come in and play, whether it's man coverage or you're going to be in the cloud, which is short zone over towards the sideline, maybe a deep half. You're doubling. Like, those are easier things. If you're just in our dime package, that's all you have to learn. And there's a little bit of coordination and calls and checks that you're making with the safety in the corner. The big picture thing you're asserting about the offense dictates to the defense is true, but the timing involved and the adjustments and the reads that you're making on the fly in these offenses are much more complex. He's never worked with Trevor Lawrence. And what we heard from Gladstone last night was he's going to play receiver, and then we'll dabble with him on defense. But I look at their depth chart, and I'm like, you've already got Brian Thomas, who's a huge hit, Gabe Davis, whatever, number 2, De'Ami Brown, Parker Washington, they really like out of the slot. I might put him at full-time corner and dabble at receiver, but it sounds like they're doing the opposite because it takes a lot more mental load to learn with your quarterback in the offense and all the adjustments and the hot reads.
I think I disagree. I just think, like, defensively, if you're not studying what an offense is going to do to you during the week, and you don't have command of what it, like, when the offense changes the picture on you on the fly and you're out there and the coach can't fix it for you, right? And they're putting you in a bind because the offense's job is to put you in conflict. And offensive coaches are going to know if you haven't been studying in the meeting room all week, right? They're going to be able to find ways to take advantage of you, and they're going to find ways to exploit you, and they're going to find ways to put you in a bad spot. Whereas, like, if offensively, again, like, you can game that up. You can build packages in. And he was successful on offense, having routes signaled into him. I mean, there's a reason why, if you look at these guys over the years, whether it's Chris Gamble at Ohio State, Charles Woodson at Michigan, Champ Bailey at Georgia, when those guys went both ways in college, they all majored on defense. And there's a reason why Colorado allotted all of their time with him on defense, because when you get into an actual game situation, and we're not talking about building, right? Because I know what you're saying. It's like you got to build chemistry. You got to build the knowledge. He's got to have the library in his head of the different things that you're going to do out there. And, like, defensively, if, like, there are too many things that they can do to you, and there are too many things they can do to exploit you and put you on an island and turn you into a liability. I just think you have to, on a week-to-week basis, it's really hard to play defense in the NFL, especially at a position in the secondary, if you don't have a really good working knowledge of what they're trying to do.
When you talk about conflict, though, what that means is to have to make you make a choice. If we're playing man coverage, for example, and you're only in the dime package, which is to say you're going to face pass 90% of the time, the conflict's eliminated. I don't need to make a read of whether this is run or pass. If you're involved on the outside, you're just forced. Like, you talk to corners, and it's very simple. Like, that is the easiest position to master defensively in the NFL, and the way I think they're going to play in those situations. So I think when they put him at receiver, it is a lot more involved from not only just the different reads and the timing, but also you're involved in the run game 100% of the time. Like, I think if you put him in that dime package, because you're just looking at the man across from you, they can motion and they can bunch, but there's not as much conflict. I've got this guy. And if we're going to switch, great, that's a call. But when you're just within that one package on defense, the conflict you're talking about is not really involved at that position. If it was linebacker or safety, where you're being read, that's true. Not a corner.
I'll give you like an example. Like, so their defensive coordinator is coming from Miami, and he worked for Anthony Weaver, who runs the Ravens defense. The Ravens defense is, like, predicated on being able to adjust on the fly to what the offense is doing. If they do it the way you're talking about it, you've got one player limiting what you're able to do defensively. You have one player out there who you are catering to one player, which is limiting what you're able to do from a scheme-wise, which limits what you're able to do to combat what the offense is trying to do to you. I just think...
Well, what I'm saying is that's already limited by the situation. You're not playing dime on 1st and 10, right? Like, that's my point, is when you put him in a hyper-specific situation in a package, it's 4th, 3rd, and long, 3rd and medium.
So, like, this is, like, if you want to go back to what the Ravens did, this goes back to, like, Eric Weddle. And when Eric Weddle was there, what they did under Wink Martindale, and this is the way a lot of defenses work now, is like they are not showing you what they're doing. They're going to adjust to certain things out there. They've got a quarterback out there. Javon Holland was doing this for Miami last year at safety, and they're adjusting to what the offense is throwing at them on the fly. And they're adjusting so they can get a picture of what the offense is trying to do to them. It's just, again, like I think I totally get what you're saying. I think offensive football, on a week-to-week basis, it is easier to have a package player on offense than it is on defense.
All right.
I just that's the way I see it, and I think that's the way. I would say 90% of the teams I talked to said that's the way they would have done it, is they would have started him on defense and worked him out on offense.
How happy is he that he's going to be in Jacksonville as opposed to Cleveland?
Oh, a million times more. And not even just for the weather. How about the fishing? Because this is a kid who only played football and fishes for bass.
300-something miles from where he's from.
Yeah. I mean, and he's known for presumably a couple of weeks, and it seems like he was, he's
like a country kid too.
Yeah,
so like there's all of that. Yeah.
I oddly feel happy for him. What difference does it make to me where Travis Hunter ends up? But for like somebody we haven't seen this in a long time. It's kind of a special circumstance. I dare I say he deserves something better than to be thrown into Cleveland, and God knows what they're going to be doing for the next several years. And to think that he might be wasted there would be a shame. And as Andrew pointed out this morning, we were talking before we got in the air, it's like, hey man, you got like a reason to watch random Jacksonville games now this year. When's the last time you really had that? Yeah. That'll be it at any point in the game. Oh, turn it on. See if Hunter's out there.
It was
offense or defense.
An NBA trade that goes, this is going to fundamentally change our franchise, and we're going to give up such a haul to get like a star where they only live in the NBA, picks 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4. Right. Certainly not this draft at 5. We go up and make it. I love that. And now that changes legitimately how you watch the Jaguars, how they can play, everything they can do, their identity.
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.